The Dragon Throne. Chapter 1 The Broken Dream of the Big Wedding Night. Inside the mist-shrouded palace, there were brilliant lights and singing and dancing. As Emperor Yuankong's favorite maid, Qi Lanzi was selected as a companion to the future prince and concubine since she was a child, but she never thought that on this grand wedding night, she would become a victim of a rebellion conspiracy. Concubine, please drink this wine first. The palace maid held a cup of crimson wine in her hand and said softly. Qi Lanzi took a sip, bitter with an ominous chill. Her eyes suddenly became blurry, and the cold wind blew, and she felt that she was being swallowed up in endless darkness. Chapter 2 The Light and Shadow of the Nine-Story Tower. When Qi Lanzi opened her eyes again, she was no longer the splendid palace of the past, but a winding and spiraling nine-story obsidian tower. The air inside the tower was cold, echoing with the sound of low water droplets. On the throne coiled by the dragon, a bright yellow figure slowly emerged. It was Emperor Yuanchong, but it didn't seem to belong to this world. He walked down the steps step by step, gently wiping the undried wine stains on her lips with his fingertips, his eyes deep as if they could penetrate her soul. Do you think this is death? No, this is a cage of time. Qi Lanzi's heart was shocked, and she sensed this vision that an extraordinary person could control. Chapter 3 Time Cage. Emperor Yuanchong explained that this nine-story tower is a barrier between time and fate, and only by solving the puzzles on each floor can we return to reality. Qi Lanzi must talk to the past, present and future phantoms in this tower to find out the truth of the rebellion. Each floor is filled with bizarre visions. Sometimes she sees the royal secret talk when she was not yet born, and sometimes she witnesses the intrigue of Emperor Yuanchong's night. Fate is like a giant cobweb, intertwined with betrayal, love, and hate, and lies. Chapter 4 The Riddle in the Shadow. On the second floor of the tower, Qi Lanzi met a mysterious man in a black robe with a hoarse voice. The truth is not who rebels, but who can control this chess game. The man in the black robe handed her an ancient bronze mirror, which reflected not herself, but a woman with a vague identity, her eyes full of sadness and perseverance. Find her and you will understand everything. Qi Lanzi stepped into the mirror world and found that the woman was her ancestor, a forgotten traitor to the royal family. Chapter 5 Illusions are intertwined. The memories of her ancestors took her to the troubled times of the empire hundreds of years ago, with bizarre battlefields, sky fires, burning cities, and blood and tears intertwined. The rebellion of the ancestors was originally to prevent a larger conspiracy, a plan to destroy the country conspired by important officials in the DPRK. Qi Lanzi suddenly realized that she was just involved in a deeper political struggle. The illusion was shattered, the bronze mirror was cracked, and she returned to the nine-story tower, only to find that Emperor Yuanchong had become blurred and seemed to be trapped in the labyrinth of time. Chapter 6 The Secret of the Dragon Throne. On the fifth floor of the tower, Qi Lanzi touched the dragon carving and opened a hidden secret room. There is an ancient memorial hidden in the secret room, revealing that Emperor Yuanchong was framed for rebellion, and the real mastermind behind it was his cronies and chief guards. Qi Lanzi understood that if she wanted to return to reality, she must clear the grievances of Emperor Yuanchong and find the true face of the traitor. However, she is also embroiled in a larger conspiracy that involves the future of the entire empire. Chapter 7 The Reincarnation of Destiny. The labyrinth of time became more and more chaotic, and Qi Lanzi gradually discovered that she was the key to all this. Her life was entangled with the fate of the empire. Emperor Yuankong's figure was sometimes clear, sometimes blurred, as if it was changing with Qi Lanzi's choice. On the dragon throne, she saw countless future selves, and each choice led to a different ending. Some people were overwhelmed, some became prisoners, and some became myths. She began to question, is she choosing her fate, or is fate choosing her? Chapter 8 The Truth About the Wedding Night. Finally, Qi Lanzi climbed up to the 9th floor and faced the true soul of Emperor Yuan Chang. He told her that the rebellion on the wedding night was a trap set by the conspirators in the DPRK and China to seize power, and that the cup of poisoned wine was a talisman used to seal their souls. The two must work together to crack the spell in order to regain their freedom and return to reality. But this process of breaking the curse will affect the future of the entire empire and even shake the foundation of heaven and earth. Chapter 9 The Battle of Destiny. Qi Lanzi joined hands with Emperor Yuan Chang to challenge the imprisonment of the time barrier with the power of the mind. The light and shadow in the tower were intertwined, the dragon roared like a real one, and time surged like a torrent. The souls of the two reunited in the illusion, and Qi Lanzi felt unprecedented strength and responsibility. With her fearlessness and wisdom, she deciphered the rebellion conspiracy, awakened the sleeping loyal ministers, and exposed the true face of the traitor. Finally, the time barrier collapsed, and the 9-story tower dissipated like a nightmare. Chapter 10 A New Dawn. Back to reality. Qi Lanzi joins hands with Emperor Yuan Chang to crush the rebellion conspiracy and restore the glory of the empire. Although the wedding did not take place as expected, it became the starting point of a new era of empire. Qi Lanzi went from a companion reader to the true guardian of the empire, standing side by side with Emperor Yuan Chang, writing their own chapter in history. The future of the empire is like the light on the dragon throne, shining brightly and shining for thousands of years. Chapter 11 The Soul Lock's Dream. Qi Lanzi and Emperor Yuan Chang had just been freed from the 9-story tower, but the world in front of them seemed to be shrouded in thick fog. Back in the palace, he found that everything was as strange as waking up from a dream. The tragedy of the wedding night did not seem to have happened, and Emperor Yuan Chang sat safely, but there were countless familiar faces in the palace. This is another reincarnation. Qi Lanzi was suspicious. A mysterious palace maid whispered that their souls had been trapped in the cocoon of fate, and every reincarnation was a test of fate. Qi Lanzi understood that in order to truly get rid of this dreamlike chain, she had to go deep into the shadows of the palace and find the hidden controller. Chapter 12 Spider Silk in the Cocoon. Qi Lanzi turned out an ancient poem from the palace library, which mentioned a forbidden technique called cocoon goo, which can imprison the soul and repeatedly reincarnate in time. It is said that only by finding the key to breaking the cocoon, a ring tempered by the blood of ancient emperors, can the cage of fate be broken. However, the ring has long been lost in a secret room deep in the palace, and its guardian is the legendary Shadow Swordsman, a palace assassin who has been imprisoned for thousands of years. Qi Lanzi decided to take the risk of infiltrating the restricted area and looking for the ring. Chapter 13 Shadow Swordsman. Late at night, Qi Lanzi secretly entered the ruins of the secret room on the west side of the palace. The air was filled with the smell of stale blood, and a dark figure suddenly appeared. Who are you? Why did you break into my forbidden land? The Shadow Swordsman asked coldly, his eyes flashing with a cold light. Qi Lanzi said her intentions calmly, and the Shadow Swordsman stared for a long time, and finally showed a bitter smile. If you really want to break the cocoon, come with me, and I will lead you to witness the truth. Chapter 14 The Secret Room of Time. The Shadow Swordsman took Qi Lanzi through the labyrinthine underground passages of the palace to a secret room filled with ancient runes. In the center of the secret room, the throne engraved with dragons and phoenixes emitted a faint blue light. This is a place where time and fate intertwine, and it is also a prison cage for the Emperor's soul. The Shadow Swordsman slowly pulled out a mottled long knife, and the blade vaguely reflected Qi Lanzi's reflection. This knife is a sharp weapon I use to protect the forbidden technique, and it can also cut off the bonds of fate. Qi Lanzi held the long knife and felt an unprecedented force pouring into her body. Chapter 15 The Blade of the Countercurrent. The Shadow Swordsman taught her how to use the knife to cut the chains of time. Qi Lanzi confronted the phantoms of the past in the secret room, cutting off every thread of the cocoon that was entangled with her soul. In the phantom, She saw the real conspiracy of Emperor Yuanchong and the important ministers of the court, and also saw her different choices in each reincarnation. As the blade danced, the cocoon of time gradually disintegrated, and the illusion gradually dissipated. She finally understood, fate is not a bondage, but a chapter waiting to be bravely rewritten. Chapter 16 Rebirth from the Cocoon. When the last trace of the cocoon broke, Qilanzi was suddenly sucked in from the secret room and returned to reality. In the palace hall, Emperor Yuanchong stood still, his eyes deep, and slowly reached out to hold her hand. "You're back." Qilanzi looked back and saw that the people of the empire were safe and sound, and the conspiracy disappeared. The darkness and reincarnation of the past have been broken, and the future chapter is being written by them together. Chapter 17 The Dawn of the New Imperial Dynasty. At the new dawn, Qilanzi officially became the eldest princess, and she joined hands with Emperor Yuanchong to reform the government and quell civil strife. The empire ushered in a prosperity unseen in a century, and there were no more conspiracies and betrayals in the palace. Qilanzi knows that this peace is not easy to come by, and every bizarre journey is to protect the real future. Chapter 18 The Eternal Watcher. At the end of the story, Qilanzi and Emperor Yuanchong swore an oath on the Along throne. No matter how time passes, they will always protect the empire and each other. The dragon scales on the dragon's throne shine in the wind, symbolizing courage, wisdom, and endless protection. And the 9-story tower has long been hidden in the world, just waiting for the time when it is really needed to awaken the soul of the guardian again. Chapter 19 The Storm of the Throne. Qilanzi and Emperor Yuanchong worked together to govern the world, but under the appearance of peace, there was an undercurrent. A mysterious assassin suddenly appeared in the palace, an assassin who called himself Heavenly Shadow, with mysterious whereabouts and quick skills, and several assassination attempts. Qilanzi realized that this assassin was inextricably linked to the rebellion in the past. She decides to delve deeper and trace the source of the celestial shadow, but unexpectedly uncovers a dark secret involving the entire empire's power structure. Chapter 20 The Heart of Darkness. Qilanzi secretly visited the palace forbidden area and discovered a secret organization, the Xianlong Society, whose members were all over the middle and high level of the court, planning a larger plan to seize power. The Xianlong Society intends to use the time-forbidden technique to trap Emperor Yuanchong and Qilanzi in reincarnation again, plunging the empire into never-ending darkness. In order to protect the empire, Qilanzi must infiltrate the secret base of the Xianlong Society alone and crack their tricks. Chapter 21 Desperate Counterattack. After a fierce confrontation between the two, they accidentally discovered that Tianying was actually a descendant of the royal family who had been missing for many years, and assassinated for revenge. Qilanzi influenced the Sky Shadow with a sincere heart, and the two formed an alliance to fight against the Xianlong Society. After many strategies and battles, the mastermind of the Xianlong Society finally appeared, and a final showdown related to the survival of the empire was about to break out. Chapter 22 The Dawn of the Empire. In the decisive battle, Emperor Yuanchong and Qilanzi joined forces to awaken the ancient power sleeping in the blood of the royal family, and the light of the dragon throne reappeared, completely annihilating the Xianlong Society. The empire has ushered in a real new life after the baptism of blood and fire. Qilanzi was named the Guardian of Light, symbolizing that she was not only the eldest princess, but also the spiritual pillar of the empire. Chapter 23 The Eternal Oath. At the largest celebration of the empire, Qilanzi and Emperor Yuanchong made an eternal oath on the dragon throne. I will protect this land with my life, and I will protect the people with my heart. The figures of the two are intertwined in the bright fireworks, like a myth. The future of the empire will eventually be written by them, fearless of wind and rain. underscore 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 un. Finale. Qi Lanzi and Emperor Yuan Chang joined hands to go through the ups and downs of fate, overcome darkness and conspiracy, and finally make the empire prosperous. The light on the dragon throne symbolizes endless courage and wisdom, illuminating the entire earth. She transformed from an unknown companion reader to a guardian of the empire, showing the true power of life. And this world, because of their persistence and courage, has become better and broader. Underscore 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 un. Postscript. The cycle of fate has never stopped, and every choice is quietly rewriting history. Qi Lanzi's journey tells us that even in the face of the darkest abyss, as long as we have faith and courage, we can break through the fog and usher in the light. The story of the empire is not over, and the dragon throne is still standing, guarding everyone who is willing to challenge fate. May we all be like Qi Lanzi, bravely undertake our own missions, and bloom the brilliance of life in the wind and rain.